On July 6th, in the Los Angeles area, we saw 109-degree Fahrenheit temperatures, and for the most part, our garden is doing really well in spite of those temperatures. One of the things about that is because our garden is cut into the side of a hill. In most cases, it's kind of challenging because we get more shade than direct sun. And while many attribute the burnt leaves to the temperatures, I think it's actually the exposure to direct sun that's actually scorching these leaves. So in cases like these, it's best to get shade cloth on your plants that are vulnerable. A lot of people want to throw water at it, but actually I find that shade is what is going to save your plants, and also the plant's temperament and tolerance to sun, as we found that some varieties are more tolerant than others. So in direct sun, tomatoes can get cooked, and in hindsight, we should have, in this bed, removed some of the tomatoes from the plants. Um, Otherwise, we are left with scorched and burnt tomatoes. Parts of the plants and fruit on parts of plants that are shaded are okay. Like for instance, the Cherokee Purple over here. We have some Drusba tomatoes that we lost to sun exposure. And over here, we have a Congo watermelon that we put a shade cloth over, but as it turns out, the Congo watermelon can handle direct sun. Ironically, the plant that can't handle direct sun, but in a shady area, we didn't put shade cloth on, and that kind of got damaged a little bit. Our Cherokee, our Kellogg's breakfast is doing well. Our Drusba tomatoes are doing well, and over here, our Weissbehardt tomato are doing really well. This is a very productive variety. The plants are really robust, and they've pretty much grown themselves this year. This is the first year in which we're growing this variety. One observation from this weather event is that blossom end rot is not always caused by a lack of calcium. So when you experience that, check to make sure the plant is not stressed in some other way, either heat or overwatering. But moving on, we have corn that is finished because we have lots of good ears, but in the heat, somehow all the pollen just kind of exploded and disappeared. So we're not going to see pollinated corn, I don't think. So in the meantime, we'll leave the plants here. We sowed some cover crop like crimson clover, and we'll plan for using this bed for garlic in the fall. Over here we have some more corn that got stressed. We're going to leave them and see how they do. This is Iroquois black corn, and ironically, in another part over here we have corn that are growing and doing well in the shaded part, which we were concerned about. Aromas are doing well. The foliage is nice and thick, and the tomatoes are protected. Our strawberry popcorn, thank goodness we didn't end up with popcorn on the ground, so we'll have some popcorn to harvest. Our bell peppers are doing well. They're starting to ripen, and we need to find a recipe and use them in the kitchen soon. Our Aleppo peppers are turning red, and they're doing well. The Plebano peppers, some got singed, so afterwards we're going to remove the plants. Here's a katydid. It's actually in the cricket family. A lot of people think it's a grasshopper. They don't do too much damage, so we're going to leave them on the plant. That guy on the plant. Our San Marzano are doing well, and there's no regret on leaving the tomatoes on the vine. The few or couple that were exposed to sun got scorched or cooked, and it's not too bad because that's only a couple. Our Seneca red stalker corn has fallen over due to the extreme heat. We were letting the ears and the plant dry before we harvest them, but since this one's leaned over, let's take a peek and see what it looks like on the inside, if I can get to it. They're supposed to have really nice, deep, and marbled-like colors on the kernels. And this one is mostly white and yellow. It looks like the pigment hasn't come in. I wonder if the seed that this plant grew from was hybridized by some white corn variety. Nonetheless, we got a pretty good ear from this plant. So we'll have to come back and harvest the corn together. Our other corn are doing well once again, that you can see parts of. The paprika pepper, we got some scorched pepper, so we'll have to remove them. Our Prince Borghese tomato is not doing well this year, got scorched. Our Reed avocado, I think we may have to call it on this guy. He's been runty and hasn't really grown more than this in the last 3 years. And the burlap that we wrapped around the branches to protect it doesn't seem to really help in cases like our past event. Our raised bed with beans are done. Another heat-loving plant is the Pakistan mulberry, and it's thriving under the present conditions. The leaves are never bigger than this before. Down below are zinnia, another type of plants that like the heat. Our yuzu is doing well despite some fruit being turned black. And down below the plant, in the planter area here, are some watermelon plants that are probably done now because of the heat, but we have fruit left on the vine that will still ripen, like this Klondike striped blue ribbon and also the sweet Siberian. We've already harvested one away and did a taste test, and it was quite yummy, so we're looking forward to trying another sweet Siberian out soon. San Marzano, where they're exposed to sun, some of them got cooked. And over this way, we have our Klondike striped blue ribbon. And ironically, this is the watermelon that we should have put shade cloth over instead of the Congo watermelon. Our jade bush bean got their tips burnt, which is not too big of an issue because we're actually saving the seeds for planting again next time. Our blue Java banana got scorched, and it looks pretty bad, but bananas will grow back quickly. They're in the grass family, so they'll grow like grass. Our Black Beauty zucchini is doing well. I found that bush type of squashes do better in heat than, say, vining types. So that's something that we're going to keep an eye on in the future. Should there be an event like this and we need to put shade, we'll more likely put it over vining plants than bush plants. Our Ford Hook Giant Shard is still upright and rigid, although it has some crispy edges. I'm actually surprised that plant is still alive. The peach is doing well. And then over here, our giant pumpkin, I believe it's the Pacific Giant. The pumpkin is still on the plant and looks like it's growing still. Our watermelon patch is near its end, and we have a couple watermelon that we're waiting to ripen. Our pumpkin patch, our sugar pie pumpkin, is done, and we're going to get the pumpkins off the ground soon. This is a crimson sweet watermelon. And over here we have another heat-loving plant, the panache fig or tiger fig. And with the heat, it'll hopefully speed up the ripening process. We've been waiting for a little bit now. We're keeping an eye on the wax melons, and we'll see in the next few days if the foliage turns brown or stays this way. And that's how our garden is doing post heat stress. And until the next video, thanks for stopping by, thanks for watching, and happy gardening.